podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Moore, and we're back. This is another episode, multiple episodes in 1 week. We're getting after it. The news cycle regarding the military is just giving me all kinds of cannon fodder to talk about. So we're going to get into the latest today. I got one pulled up. We might have enough time. I might make enough time to go through a second one. But first thing that came out today, all right, let's jump right into it. This new memo from SECDEF, here it is on screen, right? Restoring America's fighting force. I have not read it at all. This is the first reaction. You're getting it for live with me right now, all right? Restoring America's fighting force. They're getting after it. Whether you like it or not, they're getting after it, okay? The Department of Defense has an obligation to the American public to ensure their sons and daughters serve under the best leadership we can provide them. Absolutely. We're just talking about this as military members, not in the political sense of things. It might be political in the sense of like military, but not the politicians, not Republican, Democrat, or anything like that. Leave that shit out of it, okay? Just think of this as you as a military person. All we've been asking for is better leadership, right? Head nod, north, south. All right. Hear the rocks rattle. Okay. All the drumbeat has been is that junior, I'm going to put in the sense of Navy, junior sailors deserve the best leadership that we can give them. All we hear is that it's a privilege to lead, right? Yada, yada, yada. So straight out the gate, I think he's on point here. Serve under the best leadership we can provide them. Yes, I think that is true, right? Doing so is a national security imperative. A foundational tenet of the DoD must always be, let me make that a little bit bigger there, all right? Must always be the most qualified individuals are placed in positions of responsibility in accordance with merit-based colorblind policies. All right, so this is what's got everyone all jacked up right here, okay? It is the merit-based colorblind policies. That's what everyone's getting their things twisted up in a bunch about, okay? My question is this. Do we not want merit-based promotions, right? Do we not want to be selecting the best because they're the best? Just put everything else aside that you may think is happening, not happening, hearing, never seen before, not privy to, whatever else, okay? Bottom line, point blank, period. Do we want to promote the best at the job to be the next best leader for the next generation of military member, sailor, Marine, Guardian? I'm going to keep saying Guardian. Soldier, airman, right? We want to promote the best. Should we promote just because of a demographic? As I said in the previous video, no, I do not think we should. I don't think a demographic should play any part in it at all, okay? We should promote strictly on merit, all right? So we're going to get more into it, and I gotta keep remembering which one I'm scrolling. The DoD mission is to win the nation's wars. Oh, too much. I'm going off two screens. All right. To do this, we must have a lethal fighting force that rewards individual initiative, excellence, and hard work based on merit. In the executive order of January 27th, Restoring America's Fighting Force, right? Okay. The president and commander-in-chief, right? Our boss, the leader of the military, like it or not, that's his number one job there, prohibited any preference or disadvantage for an individual or a group within the armed forces on the basis of sex, race, or ethnicity. I think something that people are forgetting and leaving out here, right? Preference or disadvantage, okay? Now, I know people are going to jump in the comments and start talking about good old boys club, this and that, and I'm not saying they don't exist. It does exist. It exists in every ethnicity, color of skin, every command. It does. Okay, it doesn't. That is not a term we. When I say we, I'm just saying generally. We like to apply that to the good old white man's good old boys club, right? But that could be applied across any demographic out there. I've covered several times on here about the Filipino mafia. It's the good old boys club by a different name, even though I don't believe it exists. I think when you speak to that, as I've said before, you give it power that is not there for people that want to believe it and make it a thing. They take that power away from you, right? But it applies across the board. There are groups of people that look like each other that want to control or have power within whatever your rating community is. So I'm not stupid or naive to that, but it's in every demographic. Don't try to just apply it onto that the good old boys club is the white people, okay? And that I think speaks to a lot of what we're trying to do away with is this gets into CRT, which someone I think in Reddit was thought it meant command resiliency team, and no, it's critical race theory as they're talking about it here. But so what what I have highlighted, it points out preference or disadvantage, right? So no one should be disadvantaged by any demographic either. Okay. Um, that's point blank. No shit. It should only be on merit. That's fucked up. Good old boys club from yesteryears, your grandpa's military or whatever it was, right? You're talking about back in the day. You're talking about segregation, coming out of segregation. Yeah, that shit was all there. I do not think that is as prevalent and out there as some may think it still is, right? Again, I do believe that there are groups and circles out there of like-minded individuals that may look alike that try to, control things here or there. I think it's stupid and bullshit, and I do everything I can to fight that kind of stuff because I think it's stupid and bullshit, right? And I'll call people out on it. It don't bother me. I'm a fucking chief. That's what I'm supposed to be doing, okay? And I look out. I don't care what you're looking like. I'm gonna look out for you. I'm a merit based. If you get the job done, I fuck with you. Let's go. Let's go get this job done, okay? If you shit hot shit, like let's go. Let's work. All right. That's all I'm looking for. But again, just to point this out, preference or disadvantage for an individual or a group within the armed forces on the basis of sex, race, or ethnicity. Right? So we can't say that this is being what everyone wants it to be. I think a lot of people want this to circle this around being racist and stuff. But I just don't think when you're calling it out evenly like this, meaning you should not be preference and you should not be a disadvantaged, because those things should not play a factor at all. DEI policies, as defined in the January 27, 25 executive order, are incompatible with the values of the DoD. The DoD will strive to provide merit-based, colorblind, equal opportunities to service members, but will not guarantee or strive for equal outcomes. I don't have a problem with this. You let me know if you have a problem with striving for the best, most highly qualified, most capable person getting the job that is colorblind, meaning that it should not play a factor at all, right? Again, I want the best. I don't give a shit what you look like. I want the best doing this job, okay? Equal opportunity. There it calls out equal opportunity again, okay? When we get down to this stuff and we want to talk about go to boys club, or these are all they're using tools that are gonna try to stop women from serving this and that, and I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't want women to start serving. I think there's great sailors out there that are ladies that fucking do a kick-ass job, okay? Like I said, one of my best homegirls from my last ship, the best 3MC on the waterfront, hands down. I don't care what nobody says. One of the brightest and smartest sonar technicians that I've ever met, hands down, right? I would like her on any warship out there with me, because I would feel safer that we're not going to get blown up by a torpedo. Okay? Do I give a fuck what she looked like? No. I care that Jenny is the fucking best sonar tech out there. That's what I care about. All right? But we're trying to, I think I keep saying we, it's not me. Social media and what's being put out there is trying to spin all of this in a very, very negative way, because that's what a lot of the propagandist left versus right wants you to do, right? We knew it was coming, right? We knew no matter who was going to win the election, we knew these things were going. If it was the other way around, I'd be doing videos because the other person could be, I don't know. I'm sure I'd be doing videos though on something about whatever is going to impact the military. Okay. All right, let's get back to this memo. To ensure, to ensure focuses to ensure. I'm on record repeat. DoD focuses on its core mission of providing the military forces needed to delete war and ensure our nation's security. The department will ensure all decisions related to hiring, promotion, and selection of personnel for assignments are based on merit, the needs of the department, and lastly, the individual's desires. Ooh, so that one's a hard pill to swallow because I be telling people all the time, I fucking this is a straight up. You're gonna take that billet, and I don't really care what your top five is. And I mean that's what happened to me. It was number two, but not because I wanted it, because I was playing their bullshit ass game of pick seven and work with us, right? But there it is, right here: merit, needs of the department, and lastly, your desire, right? They're talking about getting back to which some of it again, like that part is like it orders. They're called orders because they're orders. Forward march, right? You got to take you're given orders. You have to go do them. Okay, it's not like you get a real big option. Yeah, sometimes you do. You get to negotiate this and that, but that again, lastly, is your own individual desire. You could always, if your desire is to get out or not follow those orders, get out. Right? I know that's what I want to do. I don't want to follow the orders no more. So I want to retire. Okay. Restoring America's fighting force task force. To ensure compliance with the principles above, I direct the establishment of a multifunctional Restoring America's Fighting Force task force charged with overseeing the department's efforts to abolish DEI offices and the vestiges of such offices. Oh, I cannot speak this evening. Vestiges of such offices that subvert meritocracy, perpetuate unconstitutional discrimination, and promote radical ideologies related to systemic racism and gender fluidity. Yeah, this one is where they're going hard, right? Again, I'm okay with getting rid of the DEI stuff. Okay, if it's not there, then there's nothing to get rid of. So then, what are we throwing a fit about, right? Like I'm again, I realize a lot of people don't think that DEI is in the military. Cool. Then if it's not in the military, everyone should be able to report up a lot quicker that everything DEI has been purged because it was never there. I'll go back to the previous video, what I said there, though. If it was never there, why are so many instructions being deleted and having to be rewritten? Just a question. Just ask yourself that, right? Just ask yourself that. Okay. Such offices that subvert meritocracy. So this is what offices in the DoD. This has got to be like civilian government DoD, right? Where they have all these different offices of this, of that. Your in code, 332 in code that is subverting meritocracy because they're studying or doing something else. That's the interesting part to me there that raises my eyebrows, right? Then what else we got? We got perpetuate unconstitutional discrimination. That's a big one. That's a big dub right there, right? That's a W win. No one should be discriminated against. What that we should be cheering for that. Why are we not cheering for that? No one should be discriminated against, right? Like and promote radical ideologies related to systemic racism or gender fluidity. Again, that starts when they get into the CRT thing, if it's being taught, this and that. And then the other one, gender fluidity, that's, I got to see if I can find it, but that's the other executive order or whatever that Trump just put out yesterday again. I'll try to find that one if I've got time and talk about it. He said, hey, it's a mental health issue, right? Gender dysphoria, and that makes you not ready. And we'll try to find that. We'll talk about that in another one, right? We're gonna keep going here. The Undersecretary of Defense and Readiness will establish a task force to oversee the elimination of any program, element, or initiative that was established to promote divisive concepts as defined in executive order. That was that was combat race and sex stereotyping. So that executive order was under Trump, September 2020. So that would have been one that he put into motion, which is called combating race and sex stereotyping. So, I mean, you go Google. Let me know down in the comments below while you're doing that. Give us a like and subscribe. Did Trump in his first, his first run put out an executive order that was called combating race and sex stereotyping? I think that's pretty cool, right? Or gender ideology as defined in the executive order, this most recent one, defending women from gender ideology, extremism, and restoring biological truth to the federal government. That's another one, right? When he said on inauguration day that uh, there will be only two genders recognized by the U.S. government. I think a lot of people. What I read into that, right? It's one of those words matter kind of things. He's not saying that they're like you can't identify as whatever the fuck you want to identify with. I think it's more of like the U.S. government, when you're filling out forms for the U.S. government, you'll have two options, male or female. That's what I get from that, right? It's a very tricky wording that politicians like Trump and people use so they can say those things and it can sound outrageous and it can sound like for some constituents like, yeah, he's really fucking taking it to him. And then for the others to be like, oh my God, he's a fucking fascist and we hate him and this and that. And those are the two sides. But in the middle somewhere, you just got people going, oh, so what he means is on government forms, there'll only be two options? Is that what he means? Because that's what I think he means, right? So when you're dealing with U.S. government stuff, um, there'll only be two forms. That's it. Let me see. All right. Go back to this. Let's go. My shit just locked up. There we go. Yeah, we got that. That's a crazy name right there. Defending women from gender ideology, extremism, restoring biological truth to the federal government. Again, that's why I think that too, because it's saying biological truth to the federal government. So that's why I go with on government forms, there will be two options. You don't get other options, right? That's why I think like that, because of what it says here. The task force will provide an initial report to them, take actions by DOD to terminate DEI initiatives by March 1st, and a final report by June 1st. All right. The task force has the authority to task the military departments and DOD components for necessary information for the report and establish deadlines and compliance. The question I have is who's making up this task force, right? Did this go through Doge first? Did this go through Doge and we get a sign off that this isn't going to cost us a whole bunch of stupid money that we shouldn't have to be spending on another fucking task force of fucking who knows who, when we should just be able to, like, SECDEF should be able to task generals and admirals to clean house and fucking make it right, and they should be able to follow those orders? That's my question, because we shouldn't be wasting money on this shit. All right, promotion and selection reform. The DOD will not consider sex, race, or ethnicity when considering individuals for promotion. Commander of Special Duty, DOD components, and secretaries of military departments may designate categories of assignment that require exceptions to this policy due to clear operational needs. Okay. Like, it goes back to the promotion thing. And I've already seen a lot of people go, well, when have they ever done that? When have they ever done that? Well, what if they're doing it and they're just not telling you, right? Let's just devil's advocate here, right? What if they have been considering those things, but they've never told you, right? Do you think they're going to tell you that they've now purged this? I don't think they would say they purged it, right? It goes back to when I was just showing you the last video. Why are they posting the demographics of board results if it doesn't matter, right? If you've sat on a board, reach out to me. Let me know. Tell me that demographics have never been considered. If they haven't, cool. If they have, y'all ain't never said nothing, right? Y'all just started posting it all of a sudden. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just asking questions here. What do I know? I never sat the board. I don't know nothing. Let me know what you know out there. Elimination of quotas, objectives, and goals. No DoD component will establish sex-based, race-based, or ethnicity-based goals for organizational composition, academic admission, or career fields. Okay. Only the best get in then, right? Where are we at? Yeah. Only the best get in. Does anyone have a problem with that? That only the best the best and brightest? Now, I know where people are going to get mad, right? And I don't blame them really, is the academic admission part, right? Because I know there's like Supreme Court stuff talking about you can consider these. I know, especially when it came to the what do you call it? The schools like Annapolis, West Point, right? Air Force. Um, they said you can consider that stuff. For school, it's like I'm kind of split on it. I still think that you should be the best. I think if a school wants to say, hey, you know what, we are going to have a quota for this many people, it shouldn't be. It's just like the selection boards, right? If you say you need 100 new LSCs, but there's only 65 that are actually worth a shit, right? That are actually like not just you. Like you got to do two parts, right? One part is I need 100. Second part is we will not accept anything less than a B plus, just to make this in simple terms, okay? And you only got 65 that are your B plus and greater, right? You don't go, oh shit, we need 35 more, so I guess we'll take everything under the B plus. You go, hey, well, I guess we're shit out of luck. We're not lowering that standard, and we get into standards here in a little bit on this, I think, right? Or in a lot of the talk that has been going is about the standard. We shouldn't lower that standard just to meet a quota. So if we're going to have a quota to let kids into academic admissions, that we say, hey, we need some of this, some of that, some of this, we should still only be taking the best and brightest of those. And we should not be lowering the standard just to get more of whatever that category is into the academic institution. Okay, that's academics. I don't feel that way because those are kids that as they're going to college. I'm okay with them learning, right? Once you're out of that, I think it's a no holds bar of fucking you better fucking step the fuck up and start getting the job done. Okay, just my opinion, right? We can share opinions here. It's safe. It's a safe comment section. Let me know. Prohibition on instruction on critical race theory, gender ideology, and DI. No element within the DoD will provide instruction on critical race theory, CRT, DEI, or gender ideology as part of the curriculum or for purposes of workforce training. That one again, I also have not seen anything critical race theory. Not saying someone else hasn't or like nobody has, but I haven't really seen anything related to that. The gender ideology though, that was in the CPO ELD course, right? It was like day number 1. The facilitator was like, "All right, look up this definition. This is the definition for sex. This is the definition for gender. They've both been around for a super long time." So kind of setting the tone of like when we talk, like, and then when we went into the actual lesson, I'd have to find it. Um, it wasn't super weird or anything because the facilitator did a pretty good job of keeping it about what it should be about. But you can see where the writers of this course were trying to like slip it in there. And someone else who maybe not as good a facilitator couldn't keep the class on track for what needed to be talked about could lose it. And it could definitely get heavy into the like DEI, like pro DEI or even anti DEI conversations in there. Luckily, again, our facilitator is pretty good. He kept us on topic of what we needed to and didn't let us get down into any of those like dark dungeness rabbit holes of shit you shouldn't be talking about at work. All right. Where are we at? And then yeah, so that oh, it's late here, excuse me. Gender ideology part of the curriculum or purposes for workforce training. Yeah, so I mean, again, what are they trying to do? They're just trying to keep all that stuff out of the military. Okay, I'm not sure what critical. If you're pro critical race theory, and people are like it's been getting taught for years, decades, this and that. I believe that is stuff that could be taught in high school, depending on how it's taught, depending on the curriculum, right? Do What I see a lot is a lot of like the, um, I mean, I don't know how to put it, but like a lot of what I see about critical race theory, right, is making white people feel bad for sins of the past when who knows if their fucking parents or grandparents or it had anything to do with it, right? That's what I've seen. Okay, I'm not a fucking expert in it. You let me know what it's about. I mean, I might believe you, but I could also go read about it too. But I've never seen anything like that in the military. All this, so what I get from this is just saying that it shall not be in the military at all, right? Make sure it does not come into the military. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? Like, nipping it in the bud before it does, I think that's okay. Instruction to promote a lethal force. The U.S. Service Academies and other defense academic institutions shall teach that America and its founding documents remain the most powerful force for good in human history. Yeah, again, college is weird. As I'm taking some college classes right now, the supply chain management one I'm in, it did just mention briefly about DEI and why it's good, and ESG and why it's good, and then kept rolling through the lesson. And that's a lot of colleges, I think, right? And I think a lot of colleges nowadays are kind of walking that line of talking about, again, you could go see in college. I think it's good for you to explore a lot of different thoughts. Okay, if you want to go read fucking socialist books and see what they were talking about and figure it out for yourself, I think that's good. Go ahead. But when we're talking about service academies, like, you're at a service academy because you're gonna go in the military. Um, I'm not saying you can't go read those things or whatever, but I think the foundation should still be. I agree with this. Should still be that the Constitution, although not always followed as correctly and as good as it could have been, it's still a pretty good fucking document, right? I don't think anyone else has had such a great document that has lasted, the test of time like ours has. And again, not always lived up to. We know this, but still pretty good basis to start and to improve upon, right? So again, no problems with this really. Um, Service academies and other defense, like, yeah, we should be that. Our founding documents, they're powerful and they are a force for good. Not always done good. The people have not always lived up to it, but when applied, it is a force for good. I do believe that. All right. Boards and councils, all advisory boards, councils, and working groups will cease operations related to gender, blah, blah, blah. You can see it's repeating so much that it's making me tired. I ain't gonna lie. Like, a lot of this shit is repetitive, okay? And you can lose. I could think that if we're wrapping up here, 2 pages, they could have probably made this page and a half. Some of they could have put under a couple of same paragraphs there. Um, and it just goes that those people will oversee the implementation of this memorandum in coordination with the secretaries of the military departments. The department will continue to monitor the progress of the efforts. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Through the task force. Who's the task force? Who's on it? Are we paying more money to some fucking organization that shouldn't be in our business? Because they're a private contractor and they're just getting fucking fat pockets off of us. Fuck that. The strength of the DoD comes from our unity and our shared purpose. We will focus on the lethality, meritocracy, and accountability standards and readiness. Yeah, I would, I would, I would move meritocracy down to like the fourth or fifth word there, right? Although this is what this is all about, like, it could be one of the last things said, right? I think if we focus on lethality, standards, readiness, accountability, and meritocracy, kind of like in that order, um, then I think that's again, I'm always talking about how to place words, like in what order I think about things like that. Does it really matter? Maybe it doesn't really matter to you. To me, I think it matters, and there's always a shuffle you could do kind of shake things up. Providing service members an equal opportunity to excel. Oh, look, equal opportunity again. Okay, will help us remain the strongest, most lethal fighter force the world has ever known. Absolutely. But we need to really we really need to make some changes. We need more ships. All right. So that's it. That's it's not super long. Again, I think it's a lot of the same drumbeat that we've been hearing. Again, a lot of people don't like it. I don't know what to tell you. I like you jump the comments, call me whatever you want. We are a military. We should be based off of who can do the job the best. Okay, there should be no other considerations. Um, I want you to do your best. I want all sailors to do their best to reach all the potential. Uh, but we should not just be handing out promotions. We should not be handing out awards. Just think about the times, like if you're a person that ever feels, no matter what you look like, you ever felt that someone else got the award for the work that you did, right? That was fucked up, right? That was fucked up, and that should not be the case ever, right? You work hard, you put in the blood, sweat, and tears, you put in the time, you make the sacrifices, right? Then you should get what you have earned. I try not to ever say deserved, okay? I don't believe it's a deserve thing. Okay, no one deserves to be promoted and selected to chief. You earn it. Okay, and we've talked about this here before about like I think, and I really feel this way that somewhere in that last 18 to 20 year mark that there's a special quota there at the boards, and let me know, Mass Chiefs, chime in. Maybe I'm talking out my ass. I've done it before. That there's a special quota for those E6s that have been up several times, and it's their last look, and there's a special little quota for them that goes, all right, uh, which one of our oldest 10, right? Our oldest 10, we're picking 5. Who is it? Maybe it's the best 5. Maybe it's a 5 based on some other demographic. Maybe it's like we're going to pick one from every demographic that are at 20 years on their last try. And then that's even across the board, right? At least we picked one from every demographic all the way down the list. I really think there's something there. And you could not like it. I don't really give a shit. Okay? I'm speaking what I think. All right? You just, after you've been in so long, you start to see like hold on, let me I've looked at your package, quote unquote, and you're telling me after like 10 years, 12 years, you have finally shown sustained superior performance? It just makes me scratch my head. It just makes me scratch my head, right? But, again, it just goes back to if you ever felt like what you earned was given to somebody else, just sit back and ask yourself, why do you feel that way? Right? Was it because that person was a different demographic than you? If it doesn't matter what demographic, if that comes across your mind, right? Was it because they look like your LPO or your LCPO because they're from the same state as your LPO, LCPO, Divo department head? They went to the same college as someone. Um, because they went out on liberty with them, right? Because they went to Mesdex church on Sundays with the guy or girl. If it's any of those, then those are all counter to, I think, what the SECDEF put out here, where it's meritocracy. It doesn't always have to be like what you look like, a race thing. America, we often make it like that. But if you can think that something you earned was given to somebody else because of any of those things I said, then that is the anti to what I think SECDEF is putting out here. And I think you should be looking at this and supporting this a little bit more. And that's all I got for tonight. Hey, don't forget, everybody, these opinions, they're just myself, all right? They're just Josh's, okay? The view, let me get the official here. For more information on how you can support the podcast, visit us at anchor.fm/Bravo Zulu podcast. I think it's just Spotify app / Bravo Zulu podcast now because Spotify, whatever. All right. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely of myself, Joshua Moore, and the individuals involved, and do not necessarily represent the DoD, DON, or those of the respected institutions or organizations. Thanks for joining us. We're going to have another show coming up. We'll probably have a couple more this week. All right. Don't forget, if you've enjoyed this, go ahead and give us a like. All right. Hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. Let us know how we're doing down below. Leave a comment. Let us know what you've been feeling and what you think about all these changes, good or bad. I engage with you. And we'll catch you on the next one, all right? Yo, we out.